Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a moment that completely reshaped our world. A crisis that truly tested global resilience and innovation. The oil crisis of 1973. Imagine a world suddenly facing the real possibility of running out of energy, not just a hiccup, but a fundamental shift. That's exactly what happened 50 years ago. Before we jump in, if you're keen on understanding pivotal historical events that still influence us today, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next deep dive. So, what was the world like before 1973? Well, for decades, cheap and abundant oil had fueled an unprecedented economic boom, particularly in industrialized nations. Cars were getting bigger, suburban sprawl was expanding, and industries were humming along. All powered by what seemed like an endless supply of black gold from the Middle East. Gasoline was incredibly cheap. Energy consumption was skyrocketing, and there was a general sense of optimism and progress. People didn't really think twice about filling up their tanks or turning up the heat. It was just ... there. The Western world, especially the United States, had grown comfortable, even complacent, with this easy access to energy. They felt secure in their global position, often taking their energy sources for granted. But beneath the surface, tensions were simmering. The Middle East, a region rich in oil, was a hotbed of geopolitical conflict. The Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OAPEC, largely consisting of Arab members of OPEC, had been formed with a growing sense of frustration. They felt that their resources were being exploited and that Western policies weren't aligned with their interests. The Yom Kippur War, which broke out in October 1973 between Israel and a coalition of Arab states led by Egypt and Syria, became the spark that ignited the powder keg. In response to what they perceived as Western support for Israel, OAPEC announced a series of oil production cuts and, crucially, an embargo against countries like the United States and the Netherlands. This wasn't just a minor reduction. It was a deliberate and powerful move to exert political pressure. Suddenly, the taps were being turned off, and the world, particularly the West, was caught completely off guard. The sheer scale of this coordinated action sent shockwaves through global markets. It was a wake-up call that energy was not an infinite commodity and that geopolitical events far away could have immediate and devastating impacts at home. The immediate consequences were dramatic and widespread. Oil prices skyrocketed almost overnight, quadrupling from about $3 per barrel to over $12. For consumers, this meant a sudden and painful surge at the gas pump. Long lines snaked around gas stations, often stretching for blocks, as people desperately tried to fill their tanks before stations ran dry. Some stations even ran out of fuel completely, leading to panic and frustration. Gas rationing became a reality in many places, with rules like a Devon license plate days dictating when you could buy fuel. The sight of gas station signs announcing no gas became terrifyingly common. Beyond the gas pump, the crisis permeated every aspect of daily life. Industries that relied heavily on energy, from manufacturing to transportation, faced massive cost increases, leading to layoffs and factory closures. Heating homes became a luxury as fuel oil prices soared. Governments scrambled to respond. In the US, President Nixon called for voluntary energy conservation, urging people to lower thermostats and drive less. A national speed limit of 55 miles per hour was imposed to save fuel. Daylight saving time was even extended year-round for a period, all in an effort to conserve precious energy. It was a stark period of adjustment and uncertainty, where everyday conveniences were no longer guaranteed. Economically, the crisis triggered a period of stagflation, a toxic combination of economic stagnation, high unemployment, and rampant inflation. Businesses struggled with increased costs, consumers had less disposable income, and confidence plummeted. Stock markets around the world tumbled, reflecting the deep anxieties about the future. It wasn't just a temporary dip, it was a fundamental shift in the global economic landscape, forcing countries to rethink their growth models and their reliance on external resources. The era of cheap energy and the uninterrupted growth it fueled seemed to be over. The geopolitical ramifications were equally profound. The crisis highlighted the immense power of oil-producing nations and forced Western powers to reevaluate their foreign policies. It underscored the vulnerability of industrial economies to disruptions in energy supply and led to a renewed focus on energy security. Nations that had once taken their energy sources for granted now had to actively strategize about diversification, storage, and diplomatic relations with energy suppliers. It truly reshaped international alliances and diplomatic priorities. But out of this crisis came a powerful catalyst for change and innovation. The immediate need for energy independence spurred significant investment in alternative energy sources. Research into solar power, wind energy, and nuclear power gained new momentum. Suddenly, these ideas weren't just academic, they were essential for national security and economic stability. Energy efficiency also became a huge focus. Car manufacturers began designing more fuel-efficient vehicles. Homes were built with better insulation, and industries sought ways to optimize their energy consumption. Conservation, once a niche concept, became a national imperative. It wasn't just about finding new sources, but about using existing ones more wisely. The crisis also led to the creation of international bodies aimed at coordinating energy policies and ensuring supply stability. The International Energy Agency (IEA) was established in 1974, bringing together major oil-consuming nations to cooperate on energy security, respond to supply disruptions, and share data. This collective effort was a direct response to the vulnerability exposed by the embargo and aimed to prevent a similar crisis from paralyzing the global economy again. It represented a new era of international cooperation on energy matters. Looking back, the 1973 oil crisis was far more than just a temporary bump in the road. It was a watershed moment that irrevocably altered the global energy landscape, economic policies, and international relations. It taught us critical lessons about the interconnectedness of the world, the strategic importance of energy, and the need for diversified, sustainable solutions. It kick-started the modern energy efficiency movement and laid the groundwork for today's push towards renewable energy. The echoes of 1973 can still be heard in our current debates about energy independence, climate change, and geopolitical stability. It reminds us that crises, while challenging, can also be powerful drivers of progress and innovation. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through a pivotal moment in history. If you found this video insightful and thought-provoking, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. And leave a comment below with your thoughts or any other historical events you'd like us to cover. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world. See you next time.